Gentlemen, esteemed adjudicators, honourable chairperson and members of the proposition. My name is Dáire O'Driscoll and I'm here today with my teammate Andrew Bath to oppose the motion that the procurement and use of embryonic stem cells for scientific research is unethical. There is one other question that must be answered here today. Is it unethical to allow people to suffer when the treatment for their ailment lies just beyond our grasp? First of all, we need to define embryonic stem cells, scientific research and unethical. Embryonic stem cells, as their name suggests, are derived from embryos. Most embryonic stem cells are derived from embryos that develop from eggs that have been fertilized in vitro, in an in vitro fertilization clinic, and then donated for research purposes with the informed consent of the donors. They are not derived from eggs fertilized in a woman's body. The embryos from which human embryonic stem cells are derived are typically 4 or 5 days old and are hollow microscopic balls of cells called the blastocyst. The strict definition of scientific research is the performing of a methodical study in order to prove a hypothesis or answer a specific question. Finding a definitive answer is a central goal of any experimental process. The specific question to be answered here is whether or not these embryonic stem cells can cure a previously incurable disease and develop new body tissues. Previous research has given great hope to this. And unethical means not conforming to agreed standards of moral conduct. Stem cells have potential in many different areas of health and medical research. To start with, studying stem cells will help us to understand how they transform into the dazzling array of specialised cells that make us up. Some of the most serious medical conditions, such as cancer and birth defects, happen somewhere in this process. A better understanding of normal cell development will allow us to understand and perhaps correct the errors that these cause. Another potential application of stem cells is making cells and tissue for medical therapies. Today, donated organs and tissues are often used to replace those that are diseased or destroyed. Unfortunately, the number of people needing transplants greatly exceeds the number of organs there for transplantation. Pluripotent stem cells offer the possibility of a renewable source of replacement cells and tissues to treat a myriad of diseases, conditions and disabilities, including Parkinson's disease, antitryptophic lateral sclerosis, spinal cord injuries, burns, heart disease, diabetes and arthritis. The proposition has said that to use and procure these stem cells is unethical, but let me ask them a question. Is it unethical to deny thousands of Alzheimer's sufferers a cure that is there? Is it not unethical to deny burn victims the chance to look like everybody else and not be embarrassed while they walk down the street? Conservatives in the US have had a little change of heart recently. In 1994, the most notorious conservative of 200 years of American existence, Ronald Reagan, announced he was suffering from Alzheimer's. His son, also a conservative Republican and also called Ronald Reagan, now lobbies for the procurement and use of embryonic stem cells in scientific research. He said, embryonic stem cells provide the greatest medical advancement since antibiotics. Alzheimer's is a disease that tears apart life and causes emotional pain and physical pain. Condoleezza Rice and Arnold Schwarzenegger have also joined the U-turn and lobbied for the procurement of embryonic stem cells. At this point in the debate, I must stress the difference between the procurement of embryonic stem cells and abortion. Andrew and I sympathise with pro-life campaigners. However, our opposition has drawn an unfair comparison between the procurement of embryonic stem cells and the killing of a child. Let me say with the utmost assurance that it is not. Our opposition has kindly not mentioned to us what will become of the embryos that aren't used. Well, they will most likely be destroyed or allowed to die. A complete and utter waste of life. So seeing as we are debating ethics here, perhaps we should apply it to this conversation. Is it not unethical to allow these embryos to die when they could be used to give burn victims new skin? Is it not unethical to deny those people the treatment that they are waiting for on hospital beds? Now, our opposition has said and will say that these embryonic stem cells can cause cancer. However, researchers in the Hebrew University in Tel Aviv have isolated a gene, which is aptly called survivin, which causes cancer in embryonic stem cells. They now say that the chances of developing cancer are just between 1 and 2%, which is, according to Cancer Research UK, is the same as any other cell developing cancer. However, our opposition may talk about the risk, but we're here to debate the ethics. According to Cancer Research UK, again, 107,000 people die in the UK and Ireland each year from cancer-related deaths. According to the NHI, embryonic stem cells have shown potential to cure cancer. 107,000 lives would be saved. I implore you to oppose this motion, ladies and gentlemen. If not for Andrew and I, then for those people who are waiting on organ transplants, for an organ that might not come, for those Parkinson's sufferers that wait for a cure to their previously incurable disease, for those people, it is essential we deem this ethical. Thank you.